see, we'll do it here. Okay, I put little sticky notes all over my monitor to record it, and so many times I've not paid attention to them and didn't.
The best way. The best way to do that, John, is take the sticky note and put it over your camera. So your camera doesn't work until you do it.
Yeah, I actually thought of doing that. But that would have made it too early. I still would have mislaid it someplace. So let's see. I just give a couple more minutes here in case we got any latecomers. Yep, there's some more people coming in. So I thought these meetings were all set up to admit people automatically, but apparently not.
Want me to take that up too? Okay, well, I'll help you and then I'll take that. Okay.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Ann. Hello, Jack.
So people don't see you going upstairs.
Steve's, Mark.
Mark? Okay.
All right. Well, let's get started. Okay. Thank you all for coming. It looks like we've got kind of a nice selection of hams and certs and yellow radio people. So that's perfect because we're going to be because all those people are going to be involved in this Food Bank Tsunami thing. So if you could kind of raise your hands and tell me if you've seen any of the mailings about this so far. Okay, that covers most people. All right, so I don't have to kind of start from the absolute beginning. But
were you saying emailings or snail mail mailings?
Yeah, emailings.
Oh,
emailings. Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. So what I'd like to do is kind of focus mostly on the communications, but I'll talk a little bit about the kind of upfront stuff and and then have some volunteer stuff here at the end. So let me share my screen so we can get started. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Is it big enough? Mm-hmm. Okay. Excuse me while I rearrange my screen here so I can get everybody on. Get this so I can see it. All right. So this whole food bank thing is an idea that got inspired by an exercise that actually the Portland CERT group did, where they actually did kind of a small version of this, where they had hams from the CERT group kind of go all around the city and stop at places and pick up cans and then deliver them to a central thing. And I thought that sounded like a really cool idea to help benefit, practice skills and help benefit good organization. So that's why we started kind of thinking about what we could do here in the Halem Bay area. And what you see is what we came up with. So the the basic objective is to inundate the food bank with donations, both cans and checks. They let the food bank folks let us know that checks are nice and light and easy to carry, and so they're totally into checks is a good thing. But they can also use cans and boxes of stuff as was mentioned in those emails. The EVC's got some objectives kind of separate from that, and that's kind of in two areas. One is emergency preparedness. We'd like to be able to have people, if they've got a go bag, inspect their go bag. I know our go bags out in the garage are, I think we've looked in them since we put them out there. But it's always a good idea to take a look and see if stuff that's in there needs to be expired or something, and to refresh if necessary. And so this is one way to do that. Some people said that since COVID, maybe we're not fitting into our clothes we have in our go bag anymore. So maybe we need to refresh the clothes that are in there, not just the food. So, and then also, practice your evacuation route. So actually take your go bag and walk to your evacuation site, and actually practice that, since we don't do that a whole lot. So this is a good excuse to give that a try. And then in communications, we spend a lot of time on the weekly nets, and you get kind of used to checking in and all that kind of stuff. And really, there's a whole lot of protocols and stuff that we should be practicing on a routine basis. And I think this exercise will do that. And we want to make sure that and it's really one of the very first exercises that we've done that are both yellow radio and ham kind of jointly working together here. So it's good to have the yellow radio for the neighborhoods and the hams for across the area. So I thought I'd take the view of, okay, somebody wants to participate to donate something. What does the event look like for them? And that'll help give us a little context about the communication that's going to go on in the background to support this. And so there's really two cases to consider. And one is that we have a person that is walking or driving to their evacuation spot, whether it be a neighborhood gathering site or some place like that, or an assembly site like Underhill Plaza or the city, Nehalem City Park or Wheeler City Park and stuff. So they're walking or driving to the assembly site. And what we'd like them to do is empty their go bag and fill their go bag with food and checks. And then if they have a yellow radio, we want them to get on their zone channel and check in and tell the zone net control that they're leaving for their evacuation site. So if it was me, I'd call into zone 2, zone net control, and say I'm leaving for the Highlanders neighborhood gathering site with my go bag. And then I walk or drive to the neighborhood gathering site or the assembly site, and I drop off my donation, and then I call into the zone net control and say, okay, I've made it to the assembly site or the neighborhood gathering site, and I'm going to drop off. I've dropped off my stuff. I'm heading home. And so I walk back home, and then I check out. I call in to the zone net, and then I check out with the zone net control and saying I'm home. And then I restock my go bag. So we get, on the weekly net, we talk about checking in, and then most of the nets have a little thing at the bottom that says, oh, at the end, you would normally check out if it's a disaster, if it's an emergency, but we don't do that in the weekly net. Well, this is an opportunity to practice what you'd be doing in a real emergency, which would be checking in and checking out when you were done or unavailable to be on the net. So that's part of that protocol stuff that we need to work on. So it's a little bit different than the weekly net, but it's an important part. So that's if you're walking or driving. And but now there's a case that people, for whatever reason, aren't going to be traveling to their evacuation site. And so there's a couple of options here. One is that they fill if they're making a donation, they would fill a bag or box with their food or checks, and they'd put it by their front door. And then they would let us know that they'd like a pickup. And if they have a yellow radio, they would call into their zone net control and say, this is Bob C, and I live at this address, and I'd like a pickup, a donation pickup. And that would work its way around in the system, and one of the mobile hams would come and pick that up. Or if they don't have a yellow radio, or they don't want to give their address over the radio, then they would simply send an email to info@evcnb.org, and they would include their address, and that would work its way through the system and stuff. So it would, the only people in that case that would know about their address would be the zone net control, or the ham net control, and the mobile ham that's going to pick their stuff up.
John?
Yeah.
Back to case one, just to clarify. So once a person gets on the yellow radio, they should stay on it for 3 check-ins, or correct? The first one before they leave. The second one when they arrive at the NGS to drop off their stuff, and the third one when they get back home to request to check out.
Yes, correct.
And stay on the net. All right.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct. Okay. Any other questions about this basic idea? Okay, great. All right. So now we're going to talk about the communications.
John, out of your case one, then you have walk or drive to the NGS/assembly area. Did you also need to put in there check in with zone net control?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I probably should have that in there to cover all 3 of those check-in things.
So we're supposed to do it 3 times.
Yes, that was my point.
Right. Yeah, I think Steve was trying to clarify that. So that's yes, that's exactly what. And I'll make sure I update this slide before it gets sent around.
And you might actually put in the term "stay on the net."
Okay, good idea. Okay, all right. So here is kind of the picture of what of the places that are participating. So not every place is participating, but these are the ones who've signed up. So in zone 1, for instance, we've got 3 neighborhood gathering sites, and the little houses are supposed to represent people who might want pickups directly, that aren't going to the gathering site. And so, for instance, zone 2 has got 2 clusters that are participating, and they've got the Underhill Plaza assembly area. Zone 3 has got one neighborhood gathering site participating. The mega zone's got 1 neighborhood gathering site, and then the Halem City Park. Zone 8's got the Wheeler City Park. And then zone 4 is just going to have people that are asking for pickups. And we have 2 mobile hams that will be supporting this effort. And so there'll be, it's envisioned right now that they'll be kind of divvied up like it's shown here, although it's really dependent upon how many individual people, homes they need to go pick up. So there might be some overlap here. It kind of depends. All right, does this look all right?
And who controls that? The Hamnet controller?
Yes, the Hamnet control is is what coordinates all the pickups and stuff like that.
So do you anticipate that they would have scribes? I mean, if they're driving around?
If they don't have yeah, it'd be nice if they had scribes. If they don't have scribes, then they're stopping, and they're not operating while they're in motion, basically.
Right.
Well, especially if they have a yellow radio, they're not probably gonna have the best reception or transmission if they're inside the car with a yellow radio.
All of them, these two mobile hams all have mag mount antennas outside. So,
all right.
So they should have pretty good signals. Okay. All right. So that's the kind of basic thing. Now let's take a couple of these scenarios in a little more detail. So here's zone 2. I use zone 2 as an example. So it's got the two neighborhood gathering sites. It's got the assembly area. It's got a zone ham or a net control zone ham combo. There's ham net control over here. There's the mobile ham. And then we have a couple of people down here in their homes. So let's take the case of this fellow down here that's got a donation, and he's going to go to his neighborhood gathering site. Right. So what's all going to happen here? So the first thing that happens is he's got a yellow radio. So he calls into the zone net control and says, okay, this is John Bravo, and I'm heading to the Highlanders. And the zone net control says, Roger, got that? The zone net control keeps track of that. We'll talk about keeping track of things a little bit later. And then the neighborhood gathering site radio lead also makes note, oh, John Bravo is coming. Okay. So now, so I go up to our neighborhood gathering site and I drop off my can. And then I call into the zone net control and say, okay, I've dropped off my can and I'm heading back home. So I call in that time, and then I walk back home. And then when I get home, I call in for the third time. And I check out of the net. Say zone net control, I've reached home. Okay. Right. Got it. Okay. All right. So let's take another case where we've got this gentleman over here that's writing a check. And so he's got a check. And now he doesn't have a yellow radio. So what's he going to do? He goes to his neighborhood gathering site and he drops off the check. And the neighborhood gathering site radio lead, let's say, or somebody at the neighborhood gathering site keeps track that says, okay, Steve A arrived and made a donation. You don't have to keep the neighborhood gathering site people don't have to keep track of what was donated. we just would like them to keep track of John Bravo or Steve A made a donation. Because we want to be able to know how many people overall participated. And then
Do we keep track of time and that?
you don't have to.
Okay.
So John, just to clarify, that person who doesn't have a yellow radio will not be on the list that's being kept by the zone net control, but will appear on the list of the neighborhood gathering site person.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Are you thinking there are going to be 2 people at each gathering site? One, the yellow radio lead, and then another person? Or will the yellow radio lead at the gathering site be responsible for keeping track of people who have not called in?
Yeah, I think that I know that the Highlanders, for instance, were planning on 2 people, a yellow radio person. I mean, they're both yellow radio people, but a yellow radio and then somebody else to help, just to kind of gather, organize the stuff into boxes. And Susan has gotten boxes to help kind of organize the things, and in case people bring bags and stuff up. We hope to have so much stuff that we'll need multiple boxes for that. Ann, do you have a question?
I was just going to say to Gail, I don't need somebody with me. I don't think there'll be that many people coming at the same time. And I can easily write down the name of people who don't have radios that come.
Okay, thanks, Ann. I was just making myself a note to get in touch with you to ask you that question. Is Dave Boone on this call?
Yep.
Yeah, yes, I am. And
Dave Boone,
I
do you
wasn't,
need a second person?
I don't anticipate that we would need somebody.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
One question, John, I'm assuming you're saying keep track just of those people who don't have yellow radios. So you don't want a list of all donors who come up?
Oh, no, we do want a list of everybody.
Okay, so we're keeping a list of all donors who come and drop things off, so that then you'll be able to cross-check and see those people that don't have yellow radios.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And if it got 2 or 3 people piled up, could you give the form to one of the people while you move boxes or whatever? It's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, there isn't, it's just a very simple, as you'll see, it's a very simple form.
Okay.
So, Lori.
This is probably an annoying question, but this is assuming that no one wants tax receipts for their donations.
That's an excellent question. And what we're working on is that if the person gives a check, well, the food bank has a whole process, it'll make it, the check will make its way to the food bank, and then they've got their whole process to generate a letter and get a receipt. Okay. For the people who are doing cans, that's considered an in-kind donation, and we're hoping that we'll distribute some pre-filled out forms that are signed by the food bank, that the person donating, they just put in that they donated, and they estimate that the value is this, and that's all you need. Okay, so we hope to have those that either the neighborhood gathering site people will print out, or we'll figure out how to get copies of them around to people. Okay. Diane?
Gail, if you need help, I can help you with something.
Thanks, Diane.
I'm here.
Great. Okay, so the little tax guy or check guy, he just walked back home, right? So his interface is just with the people up at the neighborhood gathering site, and they just write down his name and he's good to go. Let's see. Now, what about the case where the neighborhood gathering site they believe everybody has contributed. So they're full of cans and checks and all that kind of stuff. Now what happens? All right. In that case, the radio lead gives the zone net control a call and says, here in Manzanita Beach, we think we've got it all covered and we're ready to go. We need our pickup. And so the zone net control says, got Roger, and I'll get a mobile ham headed your way. And so they take off their yellow radio hat and put on their ham hat and give a call on the ham net to say, okay, Manzanita Beach is ready for their pickup. And the ham net control gets a hold of the mobile ham and says, okay, Manzanita Beach is ready. Mobile ham scoots over to Manzanita Beach and picks up the stuff and radios back and says, okay, I've got Manzanita Beach. Where's my next pickup? And they would, if there was another one ready, they'd go. Otherwise, hang out until we get another place that's ready.
Okay, so quick clarification, John. In zone 1, I'm zone net control. I'm not a ham. When I get a call from a yellow radio lead at one of our 3 gathering sites, I will then contact Mike Cook, who is zone 1's ham.
Exactly.
And he'll take it from there.
Yep.
Mike Cook.
You got that, Mike?
Yeah, Mike's got that. I saw Mike or whoever it was holding on to 2 radios, and I have a hard enough time with just one, but I do have two radios that I can.
Okay.
But Gail, it'd be great if you were doing that.
Okay, I will.
Okay. All right. So then the other case we have to cover is somebody wants a pickup at their house. So they're not traveling to any of the evacuation sites. So here, this is a new person down here that's all ready to go. And in this case, this person has a yellow radio. So what happens is she calls into zone net control and says, I've got a donation and I'd like a pickup from my house. And my address is figures something, and gives her address. The zone ham gets on the ham net and says, okay, I've got a pickup, house pickup on this address. And the ham net control gets a hold of the mobile ham, and the mobile ham scoots over there, grabs the can and radios back, says, okay, I picked up at so-and-so's house. And we're ready to go. Yes, Ann.
Isn't there a privacy issue with giving a physical address over the ham channel? Any ham can be listening.
Yeah, if that's a concern for people, then they use the email option. Okay, that was I don't have that diagrammed on here, but there's an option that if you don't have a yellow radio, or if you're concerned about giving your address over the ham stuff, then you can just send an email to info@ebcnb, and I need a pickup at this address, and there's a person monitoring. One of the roles is the person monitoring that info address, and that they're a ham, and that they'll get it to the mobile ham to arrange the pickup
Without going over the air with it.
It would go over the air. So
Okay,
it's,
just as long as everybody understands that.
yep. So the other aspect of privacy here is some of the neighborhood gathering sites were concerned about having their pickup place where their cache is. And that might be an issue. So what we're doing with that is we're asking that the different neighborhood groups, the different clusters, provide the address ahead of time, and that we're going to email that to the mobile hams. So just the mobile hams have that, and that, so when the hamnet control calls them and says, oh, we want the Highland, go pick up at the Highlanders, the mobile ham already knows what the address for that is. So it's to kind of get around that secrecy thing. Okay.
So an option, if I could, for in Wheeler, because I think I don't have very many people to go around either. And what I was hoping to do is set up our collection site at the upper park. And so it's not really the city park that's down by the waterfront, it's the upper park. And what they would do is drop it by, I would have it collected there, check in whoever it is, even if it's checks or whatever they're bringing, radio or not. Still have the yellow radios call. I don't think there's going to be very many of those because they're going to be helping me, any of them that are available. So, but what I'm just wondering is if I give people here in Wheeler, because I know there are some people who are really paranoid about their addresses too, they could just email me at my EVCNB mail address, and I would hopefully, when I'm going to try to do, who do we have for the mobile pickups? Are there already people that are assigned to that or volunteered for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the way I mean, that's actually a good idea. Another way to do that is that we could potentially arrange with each zone to have a place where the zone contact, that they would get their address if they were concerned about a home pickup address, and that when the mobile hams swung by and got
exactly,
that,
give them the addresses
and
yeah,
give them the address, and then they
yeah.
could do it that way. So the address wouldn't be over any airways.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good idea. I'll noodle on that and see how we can fit that in with this whole thing.
Yeah, because if need be, I can even try to get someone here who's at least a yellow radio and knows Wheeler really well, just to give the addresses to them, and they could do the pickup as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could also do something with texting it to the from the mobile.
Yeah, I was going to stick up for texts,
Yeah. Yeah, you activation guys would do that,
Yeah, but that would be a way, if there's some concern about security, obviously we want to practice the yellow radio stuff, but we are not, the text will be working, so
yeah,
we could use that for the home addresses if people were concerned.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So I'll work that work something into the stuff.
So John, in your mind, what do you see as the closing time of this whole thing? The mobile hams are picking up, but in some cases they might be picking up after 12 noon.
Yeah, because they may have a lot to do.
Yeah,
right. At what point are the neighborhood gathering site yellow radio leads allowed to leave?
Well, I'd like to
gets there.
I'm kind of expecting that everybody's going to want to go right at 10. So I'm a little bit kind of worried about the load
At the
of
beginning.
everything
Okay.
right at the beginning. I can't remember if it was in this email that went out just the other day, but we're trying to get the people who want to email in their requests to pick for pickups, that they do that before 10.
Right, that was in that email. You're
Okay.
right.
And that way we'll get an idea of how
Mhm. That's a good idea. Okay.
how tough it's going to be. And because we'll have their email address, we'll also be able to ask them to make sure they have their stuff out on their doorstep by 10. So, you know, if because we'll have cell phone coverage and stuff like that, we'll be able to kind of go on the fly. And if we need to like get another mobile ham out there, we can probably do that.
Okay, how many do you have committed right now? Just 3?
Well, I have 2 committed right now. But if we get a third one, then that'll help. You know, we'll reshuffle these zones and stuff and
Okay.
do it. Okay. So speaking of the mobile hams, so this is what the ham side of it looks like. There's the ham net control. Jack has volunteered to be the ham net control. Sorry, Jack, I didn't get your picture on here. There's a ham at the food bank, which is Bill is going to be at the food bank, and then we have the 2 mobile hams, and then the hams in the different zones. So Jack's got a big job to kind of coordinate all those activities.
And well qualified.
Okay, well qualified, absolutely.
So who did you say was gonna be the ham at, somebody's gonna be a ham at the food bank?
Yeah, that's Bill Devlin.
Okay.
A question, where are we going to be stationed, John? Working out of?
Well, you can work out of your home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the net controls can all be out of the ham net, and the zone net controls can all be out of their home. Or they could be, wherever they want to be, as long as you're in the area and have a good signal into at least the UJAC into the ham net.
We're going to use Manzanita?
Yeah, we'll use Manzanita for the. Okay, so who keeps track of what? The zone ZNC and the zone hams, basically, we talked about this in and out thing. And they need to make sure that the radio leads know when somebody checks in that they're headed their way. And then also the addresses for the individual pickups, the ones that call in anyhow. And then the neighborhood gathering sites, they need to keep track of who's coming, because we want to make sure that they get there and make their donation and their drop off. And then all the names of everybody who makes a donation. And then for the hams, the ham net control, Jack's going to need to keep track of where the mobile hams are, so that he can know the kind of the order that they would best, so they're not driving one direction then another back and forth. They maybe can save some gas. Which locations have been picked up, so which drop-off sites have already been picked up, and then addresses for individual pickups if needed. And then the mobile hams, they need to make sure that they're giving their status to the ham net control all the time, when they're picking up and things, and they need to keep track of the pickup locations. So I've let's come back to this one. So I've taken the liberty of kind of making up some forms. And so here's a sample form for the NCG, the ZNC. So it's got for what zone and who's the zone net control, and then name, and here's the three different times that they would be checking in and the general time. So the idea is that, well, we, as a real net control in the real life disaster stuff, you really do need to keep track of times on when people are doing things. So this is kind of, we really won't be using that time here, but it's a good practice to be able to, look at the time, to remember to look at the time and put that in there. And then any kind of notes, there's just to keep notes relative to this particular person. And if they're not traveling and they need a pickup, you don't have to worry about this any of this traveling stuff. You would just make a note on the address there. So that's that. Here's the neighborhood gathering site or assembly area. This is pretty simple. It's just the name, and if there's any notes. And the name here doesn't even have to be a full name. It can just be John Bravo. We're not so much concerned about the specific person as the fact that there are so many people that are have donated. And then the Hamnet control site or form, this has got a lot more information because it's got all of the assembly areas and the neighborhood gathering sites. So you can kind of tell when they've requested a pickup and then who got assigned, which mobile ham got assigned, and then what the actual pickup time was. And then
John, may I add that in zone 1, that mid-Neoconi A, that's Ann, yours on Connie Trail Loop, and the B is Dave, yours on Treasure Rocks Road.
Got it.
Okay. A for Ann, B for Boone.
Well done.
It just worked out that way, actually.
I know. It's perfect. Okay.
Let's see. Let me go back to that. So miscellaneous things I didn't want to forget. So the mobile hams will get addresses for the neighborhood gathering sites to preserve the secrecy of them. Those aren't sent out over the air radio. And then these forms, I'll send around the link here before we get done in chat of where all the forms are, and also a copy of this presentation. So let's see. So, Ann.
You didn't say what the ham at the food bank is going to be doing.
Good point.
Thanks for that. I was about to jump in.
So at the food bank, there's going to be some people there that are organizing the stuff that's coming in. And so we want to make sure that that they know when stuff is coming. And so the bill at the food bank there will be letting them know when the mobile ham is headed their way. And the kind of an estimated arrival time.
So he needs a form too.
Yeah. Do you need a form, Bill?
So basically all I'm really going to record is communications from the mobile hams when they indicate that they've completed their pickup and they're heading towards the food bank, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't need a form.
Okay. Yeah, and that's and I'm sure there's going to be some other stuff. Like I'm not sure if I'd like to think that maybe one of the mobile hams they fill up and they have to come and drop stuff off and then go back out again. We should be so successful that we have that problem. So that would have to kind of get coordinated also with the food bank people.
Sure.
Okay.
John, can I make a recommendation?
Of course.
I think you and I are going to need to be co-located because would anticipate a lot of other types of questions coming to the fore during the exercise. And rather than having to chase you down or contact you electronically, it might be easier just simply to be able to turn to you and ask a question and then pass the information back.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of the hurricane. I mean, there just was a lot more than just the formal going on back and forth on the net. There was just a lot of informal communications, oftentimes that needed to be passed on at moments there. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, that's a good idea.
John, do you anticipate using the whole activation scheme with this system, or?
No, I wasn't anticipating using it.
We don't really, it doesn't apply. Well, one suggestion I was thinking about, if everybody's going to be calling the zone net control at 10 o'clock, it might be a little congested. You could all split it up so that people in the first half of the alphabet go at 10 and the second half go at 10:30 or something. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what sort of feedback you've gotten as to how many people are actually going to participate.
Yeah. But I also think too that it's going to be good practice.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, having if it just gets inundated and having to sort all that out is
right. Getting everybody to take turns.
Yeah, not necessarily a bad thing because this is an exercise. So, and
it's just like the check-in on Thursday night. Everybody wants to call at 6 o'clock and you just have to wait until the line is open.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me stop this share real quick here. And let me see. Let me share this with you just to let you know who the kind of open spots that we got. Need to get you out of the way. Probably make this bigger. Okay, so this is the kind of everybody all the different roles of who's involved. So in the zones, whoa, that was quick. Let me make it one smaller. Okay, so here's kind of what the different zone people are. So some places like zone 3 there, Steve is both the zone net control and the zone ham. Haven't heard from zone 2 or zone 8 yet, but we'll work on that. Jack is the ham net control, Bill's the food bank, Gerald is the first mobile ham, and Bob Claybaugh is the second mobile ham. And if there's a third one, that would be good. And then the leads down here for the different clusters that are participating. And then we still need to fill in here on the assembly areas. Oop. One of these days, I'll remember that it's areas, not site. So we'll still have the Nehalem and the Wheeler one to make sure we got people for. And then
I don't know, John, if you want to put this on there or not, but we have a plan your neighborhood person for the Lower Neoconi Zone 1. It's Colleen Schwent. I don't know if you want to include her name or not, maybe for when you're sending things out.
With Lori here?
With Lori, right. We have 2 people there.
And what's her name?
Colleen Sierra.
Colleen, C-O. two L's or
Two L's, two E's.
cleans here? Okay,
Thanks.
okay. So that's kind of the roles that are out there. So,
So John, if you're putting things in there too, you can certainly put me in as the ham for zone 8. I'm gonna try to have another ham as well. And I'll try to have at least somebody, if they're not another ham, to help me with zone net control. And as far as certs, I've got 3 people, but I just have to confirm with them.
okay, okay, good. Well, as soon as you get that confirmed, let me know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think we can't be separated, otherwise we're going to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Jack. That will, you and I can work on where to be. Okay.
There are Manzanita need an operations center anymore.
Yeah, I know. we can fake it though. So, okay, so that's that. So, that's all I had. Thank you all for coming. Let me real quickly do that link.
We have 2 attractive bags for the mobile hams to put checks in as they collect them and leave them with Bill and the food bank.
Okay, hang on.
Are you sending this PowerPoint out, you said too?
Yes, I am. Just here we go. Let's see, I got the right one here. So this link I'm sending, I'm going to put it in chat. This link will be updated as I get new forms and stuff. So this has a copy of all of the forms and also a copy of this presentation. So feel free to grab that link and should have that. Diane?
Does Jack need a scribe? And if so, I'll volunteer. It looks like Gail has this pretty covered for Lower Neocani.
For Jack, I think if Jack and I are together at the same spot, I can scribe for him.
Okay.
I appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that offer though. We'll keep you in mind.
EG4D.
Let's see. Do we need to leave that up there on the, if you click on that link, it should bring up your browser and take you right to it.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Are they in a particular folder on the drive, John?
They're in the ham public folder
Okay.
under exercises. Lori?
This isn't related to communications on the day, but in any communication that goes out to people donating, could there be a note about checking the expiration date on food?
Yeah, that's
People often forget to do and ends up being a problem with these kind of donation runs.
Expiration dates.
We could double check. John can double check with the food bank. We were told once by a food bank that if it was up to a year, so
Okay.
we'll corroborate whether that's still the case or not. Lori's shaking her head.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think when we talked with Dave Fleming, who's the food bank coordinator for this, he gave us some guidelines on expiration date. And I just thank you, Lori, for reminding me or pointing out that it didn't make it through the the system. So I'm sure that the plans for kind of going forward is there'll be another email go out, I think this week, with more detail, much, more of like, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, if you want to do that. So very more specific things about, if you want to donate, here's what to do. And then I'm sure we can make sure that the expiration date piece is explained in there, because I know they've got a specific guideline of what they can and can't take. And then shortly before, like on the 28th or 27th, there'll be a reminder email going out too. So there's at least 2 more reminders for people in the community about what's going on and how to participate. Anne?
And you put dates or version numbers on these things. Gail has forwarded 3 that are all the same, and it's complicated to know what's the current version.
Okay. I'm happy
Good point, Ann, thanks.
I'm happy to do that. Version numbers. Dates. Oops. Okay. Okay, good idea. Anything
And
else?
John, you're going to make sure that on that first slide, you make it clear that there are 3 check-ins.
Yeah.
As Steve was pointing out to you, so.
Yep. Yeah, so the actions that I take away from this meeting was that one with the 3 call-ins. Make sure it's Wheeler Upper Park in Wheeler, not the city park. Get with Jack about co-locating, and then expiration dates and version numbers. So I think that's
On emails, yeah.
John, on one of your slides, you have, I think it was the case 2, you have NGA.
Oh, really?
Instead of NGS, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the word gathering area a couple of times too, so that's confusing. Yeah,
It was a little confusing.
right. So it's AA and GS.
Yeah, okay, check. Thank you.
I liked all the pictures of young people on the slides, though. I hope they're coming to help.
Yeah, my clip art library doesn't have our generation in there.
Well, John, I've said this to you before already today, but I'll say it again amidst this new group of people. Thank you. This plan is brilliant. And we appreciate all the work you've done on it. So bravo to you.
If it works, we could do it every spring. I mean,
There you go. Right.
And we can help people get something to eat and practice things we can practice.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. It's wonderful all around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's excellent preparation in case we do have a tsunami. Everybody's going to turn on their radio immediately.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, thank you everybody for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And if there's any questions, drop me an email or give me a phone call and
we will.
we'll do it.
John, I just sent you a list too by email, and you can share that if you want, or just look at it yourself. But it's the things that when I was doing research, what the food bank recommends in general that you not bring. So it's just interesting. Things that are in glass, they don't like to have glass because it's so easily broken.
Yeah.
Dented cans, expired ones, but we talked about that. But it's just a list, and it really is good. Baby formula, they don't want people bringing baby formula. So there's some certain things that they don't really want to have. So.
Yep, good. I added that to make sure that gets included.
All right, great, thanks.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Super appreciate it. And
Thank you, John.
we'll see
Thank
you.
you, John.
And
You're
I'll
right on
I'll
the
put out
button.
the video at some point and let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.